Am I the jerk for telling my sibling they're insane for taking the door off their child's bedroom as punishment? I, a 34-year-old woman, told my little sister, a 32-year-old woman, that she was turning into our mentally unstable mother and was ruining her relationship with her daughter, Sydney, who is 12 years old, just like our mother did with us. Sydney is a really good girl. She is homeschooled, very sheltered, and heavily involved in Girl Scouts. My sister controls every aspect of her life. Sydney has been acting out lately, for example, saying no to chores and refusing to cooperate. I think this is pretty normal for this age. I have 4 children, 3 of whom have gone through puberty. It is obvious to me that Sydney is acting out as a way to establish some independence and does not have the tools to express this need to my sister. Defiance is something that needs to be addressed, but I think my sister would have a much better outcome with a compassionate conversation with Sydney. I know it is not my place, but I believe with my whole heart that it is time for her to let Sydney know she is proud of her and trusts her to make good choices. She should give her more freedoms to positively reinforce her good choices, not the opposite. Additionally, 2 days after this whole ordeal, Sydney started her first period, so I know this was likely a hormonal surge and should have been met with compassion, not anger and punishment. Sydney did not want to go to Girl Scouts because she had to compete against the other girls for a badge and was too embarrassed at the thought of losing, so she refused to go. My sister was very upset with her. She did not ask her why she did not want to go. She just became really heated, and things escalated to the point where my sister took away all of Sydney's privileges, including electronics, phone, and even books. She told her she was only allowed to leave her bedroom to go to the bathroom. The next day, when my sister was bringing Sydney her lunch, she caught her reading. My sister lost her temper. She threw Sydney's lunch on her bed and said, "The next step is calling the police, and trust me, your treatment here is far better than the treatment you will receive in jail." Sydney responded through tears. "Ugh, call them." My sister walked away while pretending to call the police. When she came back, she removed Sydney's bedroom door and said that the police told her to do that first, and the next step would be jail. I honestly feel like this is borderline abusive. My sister and I have always been very close and promised to let each other know if we were turning into our mother. I did that, and now she is not talking to me. Am I the antagonist? Should I just let her parent the way she sees fit, even if it is going to destroy her relationship with her children and with me? First off, you're not the bad guy for stepping in, you're just waving the red flag before your sister dives headfirst into the mom of the year mistakes you two survived. Taking the door off. That's not discipline, that's emotional warfare, and Sydney is stuck in the trenches. The whole door removal thing? Yeah, that's only going to breed resentment and push Sydney further away, especially when what she probably needs is a conversation, not a prison break scenario. Am I the jerk for hiding my partner's anime body pillow while my parents were visiting? My boyfriend and I have been together for a year. He's only met my parents once over the holidays last year because they live far away. They've been visiting this past week, and since he and I just moved in together, they were excited to see our new place and get to know my boyfriend a little more. We have an extra bedroom, and this has become my boyfriend's gaming room for the most part. We agreed that when guests come over, it would be a second bedroom. He really likes video games and anime in particular, so he has a lot of toys and artwork that he's collected over the years from different games. One thing he has is an anime body pillow that features a sexy anime girl on it. He also has a mouse pad for his gaming computer that resembles a busty anime girl. Before my parents came over, I asked him to take down his toys and stuff so they could be comfortable. I was upset to see that he left the body pillow and the mouse pad in place. I don't really feel comfortable with either item, but he's really into anime, so I've always kind of left it alone. However, I absolutely didn't think it was appropriate to leave them in there when my parents would be staying over. I took the cover off the body pillow and put the pillow in the closet. I put the mouse pad in a drawer in our room. When my parents arrived and we showed them to their room, my boyfriend noticed the missing pillow and mouse pad. Later, when we were in bed, he brought it up and asked why I hid them. I told him I didn't think my parents would feel comfortable with those things in the bedroom and that we could put them back when they leave. My boyfriend got really upset. He told me that he feels like I'm ashamed of his interest in anime. He said he spent his whole life feeling like people think he's weird for being into anime and didn't expect his own girlfriend to be, just like everyone else. The next day, I noticed him taking some of his manga books off our bookshelf and putting them into a box. I asked him why and he said, "I'm putting them away so you don't have to look at them anymore." I feel really bad. I feel like I hurt him, but I just didn't think my parents would feel comfortable sleeping in a room with those items. Now he's acting distant and cold, and he's not really engaging with my parents at all. They keep asking me what's wrong and I don't know what to say. Am I the one at fault? There's a huge difference between anime video game decorations and sexualized anime content. Most people aren't comfortable with sexualized decor, and it's not about anime at all. It's not appropriate to have those things in a guest room, especially for older guests like parents and grandparents. The fact that he's letting this get in the way of family bonding shows a lack of emotional maturity. Am I the jerk for refusing to babysit my dad's fiancée's kids during their wedding? My dad and his fiancée, Kirsten, who are both in their late 30s, are getting married in January. Kirsten has 3 children under 8 years old. My dad has me, a 17-year-old male. My mom died 11 years ago. Kirsten's ex-husband is alive, but does not play a role in the lives of their children, except for child support, which is taken from his income because he was not paying voluntarily. Her children do not remember their father, so my dad and Kirsten are hoping my dad will become their new father. I met Kirsten 4 to 5 months ago and her children around the same time. Given my age and the fact that I did fine with just me and my dad, I am not looking for Kirsten to fill any sort of maternal or motherly role. I also do not think I will be engaging with Kirsten's children as a sibling. This upsets her because she wanted me to be the cool older sibling for them, someone who might babysit on occasion, and someone who would make a point to spend time with them. However, I am not planning on spending too much time with them, as I have plans for when I turn 18. My dad always knew this. This situation has led to the issue of babysitting the children during the wedding. Kirsten says that since I will not be 18 when they get married, and I will still be living with my dad, I should be willing to monitor her children throughout the wedding. My dad admitted that she hopes it will make me more willing to be someone to her children. I said no when I was initially asked, and I was clear with my refusal. Kirsten told me that since I was not looking forward to the wedding anyway, I might as well agree to babysit. She said it would give me the chance to bond with her children. I still said no. My dad said he would pay me to do it if money would make me agreeable to it. Kirsten then argued that it would be hurtful if I did not do it as a favor to our growing family. My dad told her she was expecting a little too much. She insisted that since I would be there and still living with him, I should be willing to help. She added that my resistance to act like a sibling was incredibly childish. There was some more back and forth about it. Kirsten got really upset when I reiterated, as clearly as I could, that I would not babysit during the wedding. My dad said he would pay for a sitter, but Kirsten insisted that I should be more willing to help. She argued that since my dad and I do not have an awful relationship, I should give this a chance and help make the day less expensive and more of a happy memory for everyone. Am I the asshole? Just continue to tell her that it is not happening, and on the day of the wedding, do not let her abandon the kids with you. She can find a friend to babysit her kids at the wedding if necessary. Why would a wedding be a suitable occasion to bond with her kids, even if you wanted to do it? She's just looking for any excuse to get what she wants. Am I the jerk for taking away one of my children's bedrooms? I have 2 adult sons who are 10 months apart. They are now 21 and 20 years old. They are half-brothers. For over a decade, I have lived in the same 3-bedroom house where they have each had their own room. The boys have always fought a lot, and I specifically upgraded to a 3-bedroom house so that when I had custody of both, they would have their own rooms to get away from one another. My 20-year-old son is in college in a different state. My 21-year-old son moved out of his mother's place at 18 to live with me full-time. He then moved out to live on his own a little over a year ago in a different city. He did not go to college and works a full-time job. However, he has still spent a handful of nights at my house since moving out. Up until recently, I had left both their bedrooms as they were. However, I work from home more now, and my girlfriend moved in with me at the beginning of the summer. I decided to turn my eldest son's room to my office, but include a pull-out couch for my son or any other guest to use. I texted my son to let him know. He still had a few belongings that I have put in the basement. I told him he could pick them up at some point or I could keep them in the basement. He did not seem to mind at that time. However, last weekend he visited me for the first time since I switched things around. In person, he seemed less okay with the whole thing. His main issue was that his brother kept his room and I only changed his room. He says that I should turn my other son's room into a guest room so that he and other family members can use it instead of the couch. He says it is unfair that he was singled out instead of his brother and thinks it is because I prefer my younger son for going to college. I told him that his brother still uses his room more than he does. My 20-year-old son spent most of his summer break staying at my house. It is unclear if he would want to use it again next summer. On top of that, he still has a lot of his belongings at my house, as he only takes a limited amount of stuff with him to college. He also spent more of his childhood living with me than my older son, so the bedroom has been his primary bedroom versus my older son, who used it every other weekend. My older son only left a few random belongings behind when he moved out. The room was mostly sparse. I feel bad for upsetting my son, but I am not convinced I am in the wrong here. He is an adult with his own home, and he is still welcome to stay whenever and however much he wants. It was a useless space and I turned it into one with a purpose again. It's not really about the room, it's about the older son feeling like the younger son is favored. The logistics of one son having his own place while the other is still in college dorms are clear, but the emotional impact is significant. Maybe the older son has always felt like a guest in the home, given that his primary residence was elsewhere. It's important to have a conversation with him, listen to his feelings, and be prepared for some potentially uncomfortable truths or perspectives. Am I the jerk for telling my parents to think about whether they want to stay with me after my mom gave me the silent treatment? I am a 31-year-old female who lives on another continent from my parents. We have a rocky relationship because my mother is controlling and throws fits when she does not get her way. My father is unfortunately an enabler and always says, "It's your fault. You should apologize for upsetting your mother." Recently, they came to stay in my 400 square foot studio apartment with me, despite my suggestion that they might be more comfortable in a hotel. For cultural reasons, Asian family, my mother believes she needs to rearrange my kitchen and cook food for me without giving me a choice. She expects me to be grateful and revert to the powerlessness of my childhood. She decides what I eat for every meal and questions me about when I leave the house and when I come back. I came home from work yesterday and the water was out without warning. I got slightly upset as my landlord has been guilty of doing this before without 24-hour notice. As I was putting in the work order, I muttered under my breath about how annoying it was and was clearly frustrated. My mother started telling me to calm down and asked why I always get so worked up about these things. I was already frustrated, so I calmly said, "Don't tell me to calm down. I have the right to be upset about this. My feelings are valid." I did not raise my voice. My mother hates when I say things like this, so she responded by throwing whatever she was holding to the ground and giving me the silent treatment. Before she started that, she said, "Well, I have the right to feel many things too. How dare you talk to me that way?" and then gave me the silent treatment for the rest of the night, including refusing to eat dinner. This morning they left for a short trip, but will be coming back to stay with me later. As we were waiting for the taxi, I asked my mother, a little incredulously, if she was going to continue giving me the silent treatment when she came back. She did not respond. I said, "This is the one time I'm going to bring it up. I'm not going to keep asking about it. There's not much point in coming to visit me if you're going to ignore me the whole time." My mother then said, "Fine, then we won't stay with you when we get back. We'll make alternate arrangements." My father started laying into me about how it was my fault because I was upset, and I upset her yesterday by throwing a tantrum, and now I was trying to bully her into speaking to me. So I said, "If you really feel that way, then maybe you should think about whether you want to stay with me when you get back." Am I the antagonist for saying this? You handled things appropriately. Changing the locks and being away when they get into town might be a good start. Offering to take them out to dinner could help maintain the relationship without the stress of having them stay over. Finding a new equilibrium with them may improve things in the long run. Am I the jerk for signing my family up for public school behind my spouse's back? So, I am a 36-year-old man and a father to 6-year-old twins. My wife, who is 28 years old, is a stay-at-home mom who has recently embraced a crunchy mom lifestyle. She is all about essential oils, no processed foods, cloth diapers when the kids were babies, and she is absolutely against anything mainstream. For the longest time, I did not mind, because a lot of it is about healthy living and I want the best for our kids. But things are starting to get way out of control. The latest issue is that my wife is determined to homeschool the twins. She is convinced that public school is toxic and that our kids will not thrive in a system that is designed to make them little robots. She even has a few friends in her crunchy mom group who homeschool their kids, and she has been talking nonstop about joining their co-op. I have expressed my concerns about this from the beginning. I work full-time, and I do not think she realizes how hard it is going to be to manage homeschooling 2 children at the same time while giving them a proper education. But she will not listen. Anytime I bring up public school, she dismisses it immediately, saying she does not want the twins to get bullied or that we will lose control of what they are learning. I just do not think homeschooling is realistic, and I cannot see how she will keep them on any sort of consistent schedule. I gave her time to prove me wrong over the summer, thinking maybe she would ease into it and have a plan. Instead, she spent most of the time bouncing between different unschooling philosophies and signing them up for random activities with her crunchy mom friends. The kids are constantly bored, and I have seen them starting to fall behind. I am not proud to admit it, but I went behind her back and enrolled the twins in public school for the fall. I told her a few weeks before school started, and she absolutely lost it. She accused me of betraying her and said I was undermining her role as a mother. She keeps saying I do not trust her to raise our kids, which is not true. I just do not think she is prepared to handle homeschooling, and I do not want the twins to suffer because of it. She spent the whole first week of school trying to make me feel guilty by saying the twins are miserable and that I have ruined their childhoods by forcing them into the system. The thing is, as far as I can tell, the twins actually loved their first week of school. They have made friends and like their teacher, but my wife keeps insisting they are just pretending to like it to make me happy. Now she is talking about pulling them out mid-year and starting over with her homeschooling plan, but I am putting my foot down. I want the best for my kids, and I honestly think public school is the right choice for them right now. My wife is making me feel like I am the bad guy for going behind her back and forcing them into something she was so against. Am I the bad guy for enrolling the twins in public school without her consent? Should I have handled it differently? I am starting to feel really guilty about what this is doing to my wife. You are not at fault here. Your wife was dead set on homeschooling, but it doesn't seem like she had any actual plans or learning program in place. Keeping kids away from other children isn't fair either, as they need to learn social skills and how to interact with people from different backgrounds. You have valid reasons for being concerned, and you did what you feel is in their best interest. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.